Welcome to rSlash Am I Overreacting, where OP's wife might be poisoning him to death. Am I overreacting for asking my wife to stay at her mom's after I caught her putting something odd in my coffee? I'm a 46-year-old guy, and I'm really shaken and need advice to know if I went too far. My wife is 49, and we've been married for 4 years, together for 7. She's always been so kind, always making my morning coffee, and we've had a good life together. For the past few weeks, I've been feeling off after drinking my coffee. Dizzy, nauseous, sometimes my hands shake. I thought maybe it's work stress or something I ate. But 2 days ago, I came home early and saw my wife in the kitchen dropping some kind of powder into my coffee mug from a small, unmarked vial. It wasn't sugar or creamer, it looked strange, like medicine or worse. When she saw me, she slipped the vial into her pocket and said it was just a new coffee mix. But her voice was shaky and she wouldn't look at me. That evening, I asked her calmly to tell me what it was. She said that it was a natural supplement to help me feel better, but she couldn't say what it was or why there was no label. I got scared. Those symptoms I've been having aren't normal, and she's never hidden things before. I told her I needed space to think, and I asked her to stay at her mom's for a few days. She got upset, started crying, and said that I was overreacting and breaking her trust. She left last night, and now she's texting me saying it was nothing harmful and I'm making a big deal out of it. I kept the vial, but I'm too nervous to test it. I love her, she's my everything, but I'm scared she might be putting something bad in my coffee. Am I overreacting for asking her to leave? I can't sleep, and I keep checking the locks on the door, feeling paranoid in my own home. Please tell me if I'm wrong here. Then OP posted an update. Thank you for all your responses. You guys really helped me clear my head. I was hesitant, but I called 911 and they said they'll look into it. I'm feeling worse each day. Dizzy, weak, and my stomach's still off. So I'm heading to the hospital today to get checked out. My wife keeps texting, begging to come back, saying it was just an herbal energy boost she found online, but she still can't explain why she hid it. I told her to stay at her mom's until I know more. I'm scared and exhausted, but I'll keep you all updated when I get answers. Then another update. I'm at the hospital. I'm not really feeling very well right now. The doctors ran some tests and said there's something off in my blood work, but they don't know exactly what yet. They're sending samples to a lab, and it'll take a couple days to get results. They told me to stay here for observation because of my symptoms: dizziness, nausea, shaking. So it's getting worse very quick. I gave the vial to the police when they stopped by earlier, and they're testing it. They didn't say much, but their serious faces freaked me out. My wife keeps calling and texting, sobbing, saying she's so sorry and it was just some herbal remedy from a friend to help me. But she's still dodging my questions about why she hid it, and it's making my head spin. I told her we can't talk until I'm out of here and I know what's going on. She's at her mom's, but her texts are so frantic it's breaking my heart. I love her, but I don't think I can ever trust her ever again. I'm stuck in this hospital bed and I feel so alone. Down in the comments, someone linked a news article to an Arizona woman who basically did the exact same thing. Melody Feliciano Johnson pleaded guilty to 2 counts of adding poison to her husband's drink, specifically bleach. She got 4 years for it. Am I overreacting for towing my roommate's boyfriend from my paid parking spots? I'm a 31-year-old woman, and I share a 2-bedroom apartment with my 27-year-old roommate. Our building has a few parking spaces that are reserved for tenants, which I pay an extra $180 a month for because I work late shifts, and I don't want to have to look for a place to park on the street at 1 a.m. When my roommate moved in, I made it very clear that my parking space is mine and that the lease contains a rule about towing unauthorized cars in paid-for tenant spots, and she told me that she understood. A few weeks later, her boyfriend started borrowing my spot without permission. I left a note and sent her a text to inform her nicely the first time. The second time, I found him while I was coming back from the store, and I asked him nicely to not park in that spot because it's not his, and I pay for it, so I'd like to use it. He laughed and said that it was just a few hours. I ended up parking on the street, which caused me to get a $75 ticket. The third time was the worst. When I came home at midnight, his car was already parked in my parking spot. I drove around for half an hour before finally parking on the street and, once again, ended up with a $75 ticket. I texted my roommate and asked her to make things right. She replied that she was sorry, but didn't offer to pay me back. She assured me that it wouldn't happen again. Last Thursday, it happened again. When I got there at 1 a.m. and saw his car, I just sat there with this awful feeling in my stomach. I took a picture of the plate and the reserved sign with my apartment number and called the tow company that was listed in the lobby. They came in 20 minutes and towed his car, so I parked mine and went to my room and just went to sleep. About an hour later, my friend barges into my room in a panic, says her boyfriend went down and his car is gone. She yelled at me, saying that I should have called them first, asking to move the car and not having it towed. I said I already called her many times, and she didn't want to help me. Instead, I got multiple parking tickets for this, and she told me I was doing too much and that it's not that big of a deal. Now he has to pay $275 to get his car back. The next day, oh my God, she wanted me to cover the towing fee, and I told her I'd be more than happy to split the difference if she covered my parking tickets first, and the next month's parking fee since I couldn't use the space. She says I'm blackmailing her, and I went too far with the towing. Right now, the atmosphere in our place is super awkward and tense. Maybe I should have tried calling one more time, but I paid for the spot and I want to use it. I've asked many times and she never cared to help me. Did I overreact by towing the car? No, you didn't overreact. Obviously, everyone in the comments is going to be on your side, but unfortunately, there's no real way to fix this. Things are always going to be awkward. Things are always going to be tense. There's no way out of it. The simple reality is that your roommate is stupid and or a bad person. And she's dating someone who is stupid and or a bad person. So just keep your head down, install locks on your door, and try to get a new roommate ASAP. Am I overreacting because my ex-wife and her new husband legally made their last name my full effing name? You cannot make this stuff up. I was married once. My ex-wife blew it all to hell by cheating on me with one of my closest effing friends. That betrayal crushed me, but whatever, I rebuilt. She kept my last name after the divorce. Weird, but I let it go. Fast forward, she marries the guy she cheated with. Fine, closure, good for them. But here's where it goes off the rails. Her new husband's last name is the same as my first name. So when they hyphenated, their big shiny new married surname is now my entire effing legal name. Imagine your name is David Carter. The guy she cheats with is named John David. They marry, hyphenate, and proudly announce themselves as Mr. and Mrs. David Carter, which is literally your name. They're on Facebook, smiling, posting, "Here's to the new official Mr. and Mrs. David Carter." Meanwhile, I'm staring at my phone thinking, what the F? My ex-wife and her affair partner just legally rebranded themselves as me. Also, no, my name is not common. People are gonna see their names and assume it's me. So tell me, am I losing my mind here, or is this just as completely effed up as it feels? Also, OP clarifies, I'm not on their social media. A mutual acquaintance sent me a screenshot with the adjoining text. WTF is wrong with them? OP, I think your friend was correct when he said WTF, because you have every right to be weirded out here, because this is weird. Oh, this is a really interesting point from Bobo Zet, which I hadn't considered. It's a win on your side. You'll be a constant reminder, a constant presence weighing on their marriage. Every time she'll sign something, she'll think of you. Every time someone calls her by her full name, Mrs. John David, she'll think of you whether she wants it or not. Right now it's fine. They're in the honeymoon phase, but eventually they'll both feel it after every fight, every disagreement, especially if, or when, one of them cheats. Meanwhile, you have an objectively funny story to tell and get to move on with your life. They don't. For them, moving on will be impossible. Yeah, it is true in that it kind of gives you the last laugh if you think about it that way. However, it does make it harder for OP to just forget he ever knew this wife and move on with his life because they stole his damn name. So I like the optimism of the commenter, but I'm still with OP. This sucks. Am I overreacting for being upset that my husband wants me to continue litter box duty while pregnant? All right, hold on. Before I get too far into this, isn't there specifically a parasite in cat poo that's dangerous for pregnant ladies? Parasite cat poo dangerous pregnant ladies. Toxoplasmosis, a parasitic infection that can lead to serious complications for the fetus, such as birth defects, miscarriage, and severe neurological or eye problems. Okay, well, without even starting the post, I'm pretty sure OP is not overreacting here. My husband and I are expecting our first child. I'm only 6 weeks pregnant and just found out. Last night, we had friends over, and one of the friends said, "Oh, now you have to take care of the litter box," to my husband. And my husband said, "She can do it still." And the friend went on to explain toxoplasmosis and all that, and he just kind of ignored it. Well, this morning he mentions, "By the way, I Googled it, and technically you can still do the litter box if you wear gloves and do it every day." And I was just confused if he was being serious, and why would he want to risk it? And he insisted Google says it's not infectious for a day, and if I do it every day, then it'll be fine. But why would we risk it? I mean, I can, sure, but I feel like it's wild to not even want to try to help me out. Hormones got the best of me, and I started crying and just left the room because I didn't feel like arguing or crying in front of him. Is this ridiculous, or am I just hormonal? OP, it's possible to be hormonal and your husband's being ridiculous. Here we go. Down in the comments, we have someone who was born with toxoplasmosis. Skunkwork says, "I was born with toxoplasmosis, although my mother swears she had no contact with cats. Much of her family lived on farms, but it could have come from barnyard animals. In any event, I had my first retinal detachment at the age of 18, treated with cryo. Happened again at 22, took lasers and cryo to repair. At 25, I took a tumble and totally detached the left retina. I have scleral buckle surgery and a complete vitrectomy. After 18 months of failures, I just decided to move on. I kept the bad eye. It looked okay. At about 40, I began to get killer headaches, discovered to be from pressure built up behind the bad eye. I had it removed and a coral implant attached to the muscles. Then I got an acrylic contact that looks like an eye. I'm 65 now, and I've adapted very well to having one eye. There will also be a lack of depth perception, but there are ways to help. Peripheral vision is also an issue. The biggest thing I lost was my lifelong desire to be a pilot. I had 6 hours of training in my logbook when the total detachment occurred. I can't imagine looking your child in the eye, especially when they've grown up and they understand things, and be like, "Sorry you've got severe medical issues. I just couldn't be bothered to get up and take care of you. And now you got lifelong issues. Whoops, my bad. Sorry about that." OP, your husband deserves to be drop-kicked out of a window. That was rSlash Am I Overreacting? And if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.